Hi girls, I understand that the video that I linked you to may not have worked for everyone, that you needed to set up an account. So I'm putting together my own little screencast to make sure that you're good to go with regard to circles. E-block, I was able to instruct you all on our Zoom, so this is mostly an A-block situation, but feel free at E-block to look at and listen to this as well. Okay, basically with a circle, these are the definitions. Circumference is the distance around a circle, so it's like the perimeter of a circle. So I'm going to write that down next to this. The circumference is just the perimeter. Again, feel free to write these in your notes. You'll also have some questions on your circle worksheet that ask these questions. A chord is a line segment with endpoints on the circle. So any time that I have a circle, and I'm going to draw this example over here, this example here, a chord just goes all the way across. Well, there's a special chord is this diameter. This right here is the center of my circle. The diameter is a chord that passes through the center of the circle. And so this right here is, and I'll highlight it in red, this is the diameter. And then I'm going to highlight in a green, the radius is just half the diameter. So it goes from the center of the circle to just one of the sides. And so this is the radius. So the relationship between the diameter and the radius is that the diameter is twice the radius. And that's what this says down here. So diameter equals 2r, twice the radius. Or, looking at the other way, the radius is half the diameter. So, if I have a circle, and I'm going to scoot down a little bit with my, let me scoot up. If I look at number 15, and I just asked you the question, what is the radius of 15 and what is the diameter? Well, the radius is half the distance across, so the radius is 25 inches. And the diameter is 50 inches. We're just going to go across all of these little circles on these examples and say, okay, you do this one. What's the radius of number 16? And what's the diameter? You can press pause. I'll give you a second. You're correct if you said the radius is 2 meters and the diameter is 4 meters. Similarly with 17, the radius is halfway across, or it's 3 feet, and then the diameter is 6 feet. And then 18, you look at it, you see, oh wow, that's the diameter, which is 6 feet, or 6 centimeters, and the radius is half that, which is 3 centimeters. That's just basic definitions. All right, then we move to ask ourselves, there's two kind of questions. How much material is inside the circle, and how much material is the distance around the circle? Well, the word for distance around the circle is the circumference. So circumference, as I said before, is the perimeter of a circle. My handwriting is not too great. The formula, oh, I didn't even spell it correctly. Circle, there we go. So circumference equals 2 pi r, but since you know that 2r is a d, that also equals pi times the diameter. So either formula says the same thing. Circumference equals 2 pi r, or circumference equals pi times the diameter. I made my e-block repeat it 3 times. Circumference equals 2 pi r, circumference equals pi times the diameter. Circumference equals 2 pi r, circumference equals pi times the diameter. So up here, I'm going to then figure out, and what we're going to do, and this is what I want to make sure that you understand, there's going to be two ways to write circumference and area. We're going to write it in pi form, and then we're actually going to estimate it using 3.14 as an estimate for pi. We all been in math long enough to realize that pi is a non-terminating, non-repeating decimal, but we're going to use it to estimate it. So in this situation right here, and I'm just going to leave these answers right now in pi form, and then I'm going to press pause, get a calculator out, and actually figure them out for you. So here, if I'm going to, in blue, if I'm going to figure out the circumference of this number 15, it's going to be pi times the diameter. So it's just going to be 50 pi inches. Similarly here, if I'm going to figure out the circumference of this circle, it's going to be 4 times pi meters. The circumference of this circle equals 6 times pi feet. And the distance around number 18 is going to be circumference equals 6 times pi times centimeters. Again, I can estimate it by plugging in 3.14 instead of that pi, but right now I'm just going to list it like that. Okay, so then the question is, what's the area of these circles? And so I'm just going to, using up this right here, the area equals, the area equals, the area equals. Well, the area, the formula for area of a circle, and I'm going to erase this so we can write this down here, is pi r squared. And so area of a circle equals pi r squared. So you're going to take r, multiply it by itself, then multiply by pi. And again, I'm going to leave this in pi form. Mathematically, that's just a pure form because we haven't estimated at all. So the area of this circle is 25 squared, which is 625 times pi inches squared. And the area of this circle is pi r squared. R is 2, so r squared is 4. So it's also going to be 4 pi, but now we're measuring it in meters squared. The area of this circle is our radius squared, which is 3 times 3, which is 9 pi feet squared. And then the area of this problem is 3 times 3, which is, this is the same circle as 17. It's also going to be 9 pi centimeters squared. Okay, hopefully this is making sense. I'm only going to show you on number 18 what the actual estimates would be. So I figured out when I plugged in pi and multiplied by 6, I got 18.84 centimeters, and then I'm looking at 18 just to actually figure out the values instead of the pi form. I multiplied 9 times pi and got 28.26 centimeters squared. And that's how you're going to work your math problems. Now, what I've written above, there's a couple of application problems we have to decide, is this question asking me a circumference question or an area question? So if you look at 19, the wheels on a go-kart have a diameter of 18 inches. How far does a bicycle travel in one revolution? That's looking at the outside of that bike tire, or the wheel on the go-kart. So that's a circumference question. So you would just figure out the circumference of a circle with a diameter of 18 inches. Similarly with 20, if you ran on a circular track, find the distance you would run in each lap. Again, you're going to have to take your radius, multiply by 2, and then multiply by pi. Plug it in, 3.14. If I'd asked you if we're icing a birthday cake or icing a cookie, a round cookie, that would be an area problem. So that would be when you use the formula pi r squared. So hopefully this helps. I think this is circles in a nutshell. If you still have questions, please feel free to email me and ask me. Again, if this helps.